Look on my plate. What do you see? The cult of meat with extra cheese. I want a burger, American cheese, pickles, onions, if you please, 'cause I'm the cult of meat with extra cheese. Like it good and greasy, fresh out the pan. I'm the cult of meat with extra cheese, the cult of meat with extra cheese, the cult of meat with extra cheese. Fried or broiled, the cow must die. The meat is done, the toppings fly. You won't have to ask me if I want some extra cheese. Now with tomato and bacon too. Not a drop of mustard there, you fool, 'cause I'm the cult of meat with extra cheese. On the bun, the mayo there, I'll eat it in my underwear.
Oh, come on.
Add a fried egg, that'll make it fine. You can tell that burger's mine. I need that burger handed to me, 'cause that's the one with meat and extra cheese. It's the one with meat and extra cheese.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I knew it. I love when he does that.
Well, once you hit rock bottom, the only way to go is up. So good luck. Okay, good luck.
You say rock bottom, but like, it just seems like things keep getting worse. What is rock bottom? Who decides what's the bottom of all this? I mean, seriously, you go, okay, today is Friday, and I woke up in Cleveland, and I'm going, how much worse can it get?
Don't tell me down, you piece of shit. Shut your mouth. Look at me, Tony. Look at me. I want you to fire me. You fucking Mark. Fire me. Fire me. How you think they gonna feel when they introduce your boys? That's the new WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions. I don't know who's. They might be cheering. Yeah. They might be booing. Yeah. Little kids might be crying. Oh, yeah. We got grown men out there crying. Yeah. But they still might be hating on the Usos. Hating on us. Why? Because we went out there and did what we said we was going to do.
Buffalo, all your babbling is interfering with my machine. So for the next few minutes, please just do me a favor and kindly shoot.
Hello, ladies and germs. Greetings and salutations to all you morose motherfuckers out there. This is episode 316 of the Hoots podcast. You heard that right, 316, which means what? What? I had a shot of water. What? A shot of H2O. What? A shot of Dasani. What? Fiji. What? Ice Mountain. What? Smart water. What? Salute to you, Stone Cold. I just took my first swig of the water for the podcast this week for you, my man. Shout out to the legend Stone Cold. So, by the way, since we're doing shout outs, happy birthday to Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, the roller coaster. Shout out to Cody Rhodes. It's his birthday today. And for those who are listening to the podcast or watching for the first time, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I am Joshie Lopez. I am the Josh Lopez. You can follow me on Twitter at Josh Lopez Media. I am the owner and proprietor of ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com, which you should bookmark right now. Our coverage of the G1 Climax tournament for New Japan Pro Wrestling will be starting in about 3 weeks. So get on that. I'll have coverage of this Saturday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I cover around 17 shows a week on a non-pay-per-view week. So there's any show that you want to see a transfer for, if you don't have the time to watch the show or pay for it, the article will be up there for you. So go check it out. Also, thank you guys for hanging out with us for the podcast. I think this week's episode is a nice accomplishment in the wrestling layman's terms of the fact that obviously we all know what 316 means to the wrestling industry and what Stone Cold brought to the industry. But for us, it's a podcast too, like a wrestling podcast, but also a live podcast. But to reach 316 episodes is pretty cool. And it feels like last week was episode 300, and here we are at 316 already, and the road to 500 continues. I hope you guys have been having a wonderful week so far. I've been in good spirits, really no complaints on my end. I'm sure you could relate to this, but like you get towards the end of the month and it's that time where you don't get paranoia, but it's like, well, fuck, here we go. I gotta navigate how I'm gonna go with the next of the time I'm gonna spend money and this and that. And I've been very good with my money as far as like, getting on time and paying for rent. I pay what I owe my uncle every month the first day, which I'll be doing tomorrow on Friday as I'm recording this on the Thursday. And it's like, there you go. Use your money, pal. And just getting into that routine. So I also think about how much money I would have right now if I tallied up all the money I have spent on rent. I got a really good deal. I'm not complaining. I'm just thinking about, like, if I calculate how much I do spend on rent every month, if I still had that in my bank account, that'd be very interesting. But, hey, it's part of life. We all go through that process. This is my first time I go around living on my own, and I've been in this apartment for about a year and a half now. And I'm very grateful for what I have here. I got a really sweet deal here. And the fact that we got our own studio. This used to be my old bedroom, but we switched it around and made it a studio. And life is good, man. Life is very good. Yesterday, we recorded a bonus episode of the Hoots podcast, which you can check out after this. It's on our YouTube channel and everywhere you get a podcast from. I recorded an episode with Rob Aurelius from ARCG Media. He made his return to the program yesterday. It was a lot of fun to talk shop with him and shoot the shit. Rob's a good dude, man. Rob's a very talented guy. Knows a lot of people within the wrestling industry. I got to meet him in Dallas. He's a really, really good guy. And I'm glad he wanted to come on and record this thing with me. And, hey, if we do more episodes or we make our own podcast, I don't know what the deal is. But I love being on air with him and doing stuff and content with him. So hopefully things can work out down the road. But I had a lot of fun with Rob, and I hope you guys get to check out that conversation. And I like to do some more features like that on the channel as we move forward towards the rest of the year, and maybe do some more interviews and stuff. And the cool thing with Rob's podcast this week for the bonus episode, it's the first time I uploaded a video version of the podcast on Spotify. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but you could actually watch video podcasts on Spotify. It's possible. You can do it now. It's pretty cool. I put our conversation on. I went on my Spotify app on my phone. There I am. There's my ugly face right there talking to Rob. And it's like, there you go. That's pretty fucking cool. So I want to thank Rob for coming on. It was a fun conversation. But as always, man, I do thank each and every single one of you who give this podcast a chance, because it really means a lot to me. Not only is this podcast my mental escape for me, but it's also my therapy session. So this is a conversation that's real or raw conversations, but also has some fun, and hopefully I can make you laugh, maybe give you some perspective on life that maybe you wouldn't get from somebody else. In the conversation we were having yesterday about men's mental health and a lot of things in life, I'm saying this because it's true. Being vulnerable doesn't make you weak. I want you to understand that. For anybody that's listening to this right now, and especially my guys and my good brothers who listen to the show each week, if there's something that's going on with you right now, and if there's something that you're letting fester inside of you, don't do it. Just don't. You don't lose any self-respect by being vulnerable, okay? I could say that. It doesn't make you any less of a man to be vulnerable or show emotion. I just think that's one of the biggest misnomers in society today, that, men can't cry, men can't do this, men can't do that. Hey, we could tell women all the time what they can do, right? But we got to tell men what they can't do. Like, our morals and standards are above anything else. I don't believe in that shit. all of us are on equal play field, male or female, and I don't subscribe to that theory. I'm not going to tell women what to do with their life. And I'm not going to tell a dude and thumb my nose at a guy because he got emotional because he's dealing with something or depression or mental health, you know. That's just something I don't subscribe to. So, again, if you take anything from this podcast, nothing wrestling related, understand that you being vulnerable or you getting stressed out or feeling frustrated over the fact that you're having a falling out with a friend or you got rejected or you got denied for a job opportunity, whatever the situation is, you know, it's okay to show that emotion. And trust me, getting that weight off your shoulder is so great for you spiritually and mentally. I will attest to that. So just want to share some bit of wisdom before we got into the Q&A and stuff like that. As far as the rest of the show is concerned, of course, you'll get a brand new What the Hell's Wrong with AEW. I ask the question every week, what is wrong with AEW? And about 2 years of doing this segment, I guess me and Brother Carr still haven't found the definitive answer to that question. Honestly, I don't know how long we're going to do that segment. We're going to keep doing it as long as you want me and Derek to do it. I don't want this segment to come off as me and Derek hate every single thing that goes on with AEW because that's not the truth. I wouldn't have volunteered myself to cover Dark and Elevation every week if I hated it that much. Okay? And yeah, it is part of my job and I have bills to pay. But still, it's still, for me, I want it to be good, but it's just a never-ending reminder of how two-faced the marketing and the message of this promotion is. And it's a weekly reminder, whether it's on pay-per-view, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on TBS, or it's on TNT, how hypocritical AEW is. So we'll get that. Bret Hart did send a clip in this week, and he also sent a clip for the Thoughts of Dericho, so you'll be getting that as well. Bret Hart's via satellite. Hopefully, we can get the presence of the one and only Bret Hart and Derek Stoughton on camera soon, and we can do a full-length show for you guys again. So hopefully that comes up soon, but I don't know when that's going to be. Let's get to the Q&A, shall we? Let's do it. The Good Brothers Q&A session. Just like with What the Hell's Wrong with AEW, I'm always open to suggestions. If you want me to change the name of the Good Brothers Q&A session, I'm totally fine with that because the Good Brothers are not as entertaining as they were 3-4 years ago. I completely understand that. And if it's something where you guys don't want to hear what the hell's wrong with AEW anymore, I'm open to that too. I mean, God forbid, if you listen to any other wrestling podcast, it's like 99% of what the hell is wrong with WWE. I come on here, I tell you what I like, what I don't like. I think it's easier for me to pinpoint the stuff what's going on with WWE because I look at it from a bigger point of view and they actually have an identity and I know what I'm watching instead of people projecting and playing characters and trying to dish out hot takes about WWE because it's not their flavor of wrestling and they feel that wrestling should be only presented and booked in a certain way. You know, that's kind of difference. Myself and Brother Carter never strayed or run from the fact that we could mention stuff that's not good about WWE and whatever. But at the end of the day, what does that make us? How does that separate us from any other show that you watch or listen to every week or every day? Because there's like 50 million wrestling podcasts. You know what I mean? Like, how does that separate us? I could come on here every single week and tell you that Raw is too long. I can tell you all the cliche narratives and everything you hear on Twitter, right? What does that get for me? Some clicks? Some wrestling Twitter clout? I don't want that shit. I never wanted that shit. I want some real authentic conversation. And as somebody who's covers almost every wrestling brand out there, I'm not tied down to one wrestling company. I'm tied down to the industry. What I'm not tied down to is fake narrative bullshit just for likes, retweets, followers, and clout on social media. That is what I'm not down for. But let's get to the Q&A, shall we? Here we go. First question is usually get to Chris Letta at XT24X on Twitter. He says, what up, Uso? Here's the question for the Q&A this week. Favorite match from Forbidden Door? My favorite match from the Forbidden Door pay-per-view was the 4-way with Adam Cole, Jay White, Okada, and Hangman Page. That was my personal favorite match of the show. There's other ones that I could go off the top of my head that I could pick out of the litter. Don't get me wrong, I had a good time at the event. It was a fun show for what it was, but I also know what I was in it for, and I knew that it was going to be a mostly pro AEW show, which ended up being the case. But despite the finish of that match, I really enjoyed that Fatal 4-way. I thought it was really good. Let's see, is there any other ones that stood out to me from the rest? Honestly, you guys are going to be shocked for me, but one of my personal favorite matches of the show was Sting, Shingo, and Darby Allin against the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo. Maybe it's because I was marking out because I got to see Shingo perform for the first time in person, and I was really repping the New Japan guys there. That was probably my second favorite match of the show. Was that crazy trios match? That was insane. So those two are the ones that come off the top of my head. We'll save the Forbidden Door stuff later on. Next question for Chris. He says, thoughts on Claudio and AEW so far? Kind of similar to anybody else that gets signed from WWE. Hey, we got a new signing. We got to put him either in the first match or the main event of the following Dynamite. We'll get a podcast soon from Talking Jericho or Renee Young's podcast. And we'll hear about WWE booking for the 8 millionth time. And yeah, I'm happy for Claudio. I've always enjoyed his work. I've always been a fan of his. I'm not one of these weird wrestling fans like, oh, you're a traitor. You turn our back on us. That's not my deal. I wish everybody that's ever left WWE success no matter where they go. It just sucks that you can see the trend of how those talents are handled in AEW. That's my issue. And until I'm proven wrong, what's going to make Claudio Castagnoli any different from Keith Lee? The list goes on and on. I'm not going to waste my time calm down the nonsense that goes over there. Let's go to the next part. All right. Do you think Punk is back for All Out? Yes. I don't know the extent of how bad his injury was. My note to Punk would be, you're 43 years old. Stop fucking diving into the crowd, please. It's not doing you any favors. Yeah, I'd say for sure, most likely he would be back for All Out. By the way, I do have to mention, it was pretty cool seeing that All Out sign in the background for Forbidden Door at the United Center. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was going to be a hint that they were going to have the All Out show here at the United Center, but no, they're going back to the fucking Sears Center in Hoffman's Estates. So stupid. I understand that's where All In happened and all that, but that arena is a dump. You go to Hoffman Estates, there's nothing to do. You're in the middle of Bumblefuck, Illinois, and the next hotel is like probably 15 or 20 minutes driving distance from the arena. Oh, man. But, hey, gotta have All out there, I guess. Yeah, so that'll go down. If anything, I realized that I probably won't be able to send All Out because it'll be sold out by then, and that place is a complete dump. All right, let's get to the next question here. Chris says, who would you like to see Josh Alexander challenge for the Impact title? For me, it's Steve Maclin. That would be my pick. Either Sami Callihan or Steve Maclin would be my two picks to go after Josh Alexander, the Impact title. Or you could have Eddie Edwards go after Josh Alexander. You know, Honor No More does a lot of good stuff when it comes to them complaining and feel sorry for themselves. It kind of sounds like wrestlers on Twitter. Mike Bennett. But Yeah, I think Eddie Edwards would be an interesting choice as well as a challenger for Josh Alexander. All right, next question. What do you think the future is for Dark Order as we see Stu Grayson and Alan Angel's exit? I don't know, man. That's another odd situation too. There's a popular act for the original days of AEW that's getting tossed to the wayside. They trade off feuds now on YouTube with the Dark, not with the Dark, with the Factory and the Wingman, and it's like they're just there. They're like dying a slow death, unfortunately, and it sucks. And you barely see Anna Jay with them anymore. I don't have the time to watch being elite. I'm not really interested in being an elite, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's not looking good for the Dark Order. I'll say that. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, that's unfortunate. Last question from Chris this week. He says, who will be the last entry in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match? Brother Carter. Brother Carter will be the last entry. That's right. Sir Royalty. You picture Derek climbing up the ladder, trying to get the briefcase? Oh, that'd be great. I'd probably say Kevin Owens. I can see him winning in it. I wonder if he fights Elrod, though. That'd be interesting, though. Trod with Elrod. Oh, man, Elias popped me when he said that. My bad, Ezekiel. Ezekiel said that, not Elias. So, good questions this week, Chris. I appreciate it. I do think Kevin Owens will be the last one to enter the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men's. So, I appreciate those questions. All right. Next questions come from our good friend at Twitter at Wade. No, I gotta get his Twitter handle right. Let me find this really quick. All right, boom. Gotta get some stuff on Google here so I get to answer this next question properly. All right. Wade is on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Wade ILL Son. His Twitter headliner name is just Wade being Wade. Wade's a good dude. I met Wade finally in person in Dallas. I've known him for a couple years now, just interacting on Twitter and stuff. Wade's a good dude. He's a good brother. So thanks for sending me some questions this week, my man. I appreciate it. Okay, so top 5 hip-hop albums of all time. Okay, great question. I'm going to go All Eyes on Me with for Tupac at 5. 4, Life After Death for Biggie. 3, Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent. Let's see. Marshall Mathers, number 2, for Eminem, and of course, Ready to Die for Biggie. So let's do that again. Number 5 is All Eyes on Me, Tupac. 4 is Life After Death, Biggie. 3, Get Rich or Die Trying, 50 Cent. Number 2, Marshall Mathers. And then number 1, Ready to Die. Oh, we got an alarm. That doesn't sound good. It's not me. I'm innocent. I have my TV on in the background. Sorry for that if that's bothering you guys. We got an alert. All right. So good question there, Wade. I was not expecting that, by the way, to happen. We get Amber alerts here and there sometimes. I'm sure you guys get it in your cities too. So, next question for Wade. This is the second one he sent. Okay, book the tag title division up till the Royal Rumble. Have fun. Okay. Well, I know that the WWE draft should be coming up soon. I think either before or after SummerSlam. So I probably think that the tag division will have some shuffling up sooner or later, and I think everybody here would be in agreement that the tag division needs to reshuffle again. First thing I'm going to do is put Butch and Rich Holland as a tag team. Just have them as a legitimate tag team for now. That adds to the list. You know, it was cool to see the Viking Raiders come back this week as heels. I like that choice, so I thought that was a good route there. Depending on how the rosters go. Hold on, let me take a quick swig of water. All right. Got to clear my throat there. I don't know what's going on there. Depending on how the rosters go and how it shape out, I would have Ricochet team up with Mustafa Ali. That's what I would do. My plan as far as booking the tag division is reshuffling the deck. So I would have Ricochet teaming up with Mustafa Ali. I would bring up Legado del Fantasma, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza. Obviously, you're going to have Santos doing this up in the singles competition. You know what I mean? That'd be one other option. Also, I would bring in for the UK as baby faces, bring in Mustache Mountain of Trent Seven and Tyler Bate. They've done a lot of great things, and I know they're about to get into a feud with each other right now on NXT UK, so that should be very interesting. But with their history together, I think Trent Seven and Tyler Bate have, I would say, overstayed their welcome on the NXT UK brand, but I don't know what else they can do on that brand unless Tyler goes after Ilya Dragunov for the title, which would be interesting. I would think, it's time for them to get their opportunity in the U.S. to do what they want to do. And I think Tyler, and the way he wrestles and the tag team in general, people have a general idea of who Mustache Mountain are. I think they can be a popular babyface tag team, so I add that to the equation as well. Obviously, you still got the Usos, you got the New Day, Street Profits are still around, Alpha Academy. There are good tag teams. It's just how you want to go about using them. So I just tossed out six or seven different tag teams they can implement into the division. If you want to bring up Pretty Deadly, you can do that as well. I'd say it's a little early to bring up Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. They're slowly starting to get momentum now. And congrats to them on becoming the new NXT UK Tag Team Champions. That was a fun Fatal 4-Way last week, so that was pretty cool to watch. I think it's a little early for them to come up to Raw or SmackDown. So I would say those to that. Let's see. Is there any other tag teams I would add to the equation? Probably not. So this is what I'll do. As far as feuds are concerned, I would have... Obviously, the Usos are still the champions, but you got to shuffle the deck as far as which tag teams are on each brand. So, I would have the Usos doing their own thing, and then, if it was me, I would have Mustache Mountain be the first team to go after the Usos. I think that'd be pretty cool. If you go the other route, you can have the Street Profits on SmackDown, and they could get into the program with Legado del Fantasma. I think that'd be pretty cool. New Day will still be around, so they could mix around with any other tag teams I mentioned a couple seconds ago. So there's a lot of different things I would do. But for me, as far as who the champions would still be by the time the Royal Rumble is around, it's still the Bloodline. It's not close. The Usos are the best tag team in the WWE today. I know there's debates about who's the best tag team in the world. I think it's FTR, but it's sure as fuck not the Hardley boys. Hell freeze over the day I say that Nick Jackson and Balding Buck is my bad, Matt Jackson and Baldy Buck are the best tag team in the world. You'll never hear me say that. But, it's like booking wise, like obviously I still have the Usos as the undisputed tag team champions because they're on a different level right now. They really are. And honestly, I don't think they get enough credit for what they're doing right now because honestly, they've been the workhorses for WWE this year outside of Riddle. If you factor all the injuries that's been going on and all that extra shit, yeah, the Usos have been putting their work in, but they work on both shows mostly every week now. It's like my respect to Jimmy and Jay because they've dealt with injuries and a bunch of shit outside the ring too. I'm really happy for those guys. They really deserve the accolades they've been getting, and whether they win or lose on Saturday, I really don't care. That match is kind of like a toss-up for me as far as like, I don't care one way or another if the person wins or loses. That's just going to be a fun tag match to type out. But great questions this week, Wade. I appreciate those. All right, that's Wade's questions. Let's get to Mike. My friend Mike Rubio at Main Event Swerve. Make sure to follow him there. He's a good dude. He says, Josh, here are some questions for the pod this week. I actually gave up going to WrestleMania in my old state for Disney Universal trip. What is one big trade-off where you gave up one big event or trip for another? What did I skipped over for another trip? That's a good question. That's a very good question. I skipped WrestleMania 35 to go to Orlando for my you-know-what. And you knew what happened after that. So, yeah, that was my trade-off because that was in 2019, right? Yeah, so I traded off because I really was thinking about going to New York. I had the money for it. I just didn't know which hotel I wanted to be in, and I didn't want to cripple myself money-wise with the Uber ride. So it was like, here's the trade-off. I could go see the woman I was falling in love with in Orlando and meet her family, or I go to New York and become broke coming back to Chicago. So I went the other route. Neither option worked for me. That you're not going to laugh about it and have some fun with it. But no, honestly, I think that's the big trade-off that I had. I wanted to go to the WrestleMania in New York. And that WrestleMania was still a fantastic show. I know a lot of people go and blabber on about how long it was, blah, 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 blah. But that WrestleMania was still really, really good. I traded that off so I could go meet Lauren at her family. That's what I did that year. Let's see. Let's get to the next question. Do you think it takes away from the special vibe or feeling for a promotion to say blood and guts night going into it? It doesn't really change my opinion one way or another because the purpose of blood and guts is just like anything else in AEW is to bring us stuff that goes on with WWE. They heard something about Vince McMahon saying in a conference call or whatever it was, an investor's call about blood and guts, and he's not for that. So in typical AEW fashion, if something goes up with WWE, they're going to do it to get a little cheap pop out of it for their fans. But does it really benefit their business? I don't see it. So, yeah, as far as whether it takes away from the vibe or whatever, my feelings towards Blood and Guts doesn't change. I'm not really into that gory crap. I'm not into CZW wrestling. I'm not into, excessive bleeding in a wrestling show. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed ECW and other matches like Edge and Mick Foley. I saw that at WrestleMania 22, so I'm not going to come out here and be a hypocrite. It's just some of the stuff that's over the top, and I think Blood and Guts is just one of those things where, yeah, do you need blood to necessitate a steel cage match? That's subjective, but for me, I didn't think it was necessary. So, yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the Blood and Guts stuff, to be honest with you. Next question. Who was the bigger deal showing up at Forbidden Door, Shibata or Claudio? I honestly could not tell as both got big pops. Well, I think the bigger deal for me was seeing Shibata in person for the first time. He got physical, too, which was really cool. I gotta say, first off, Shibata's theme song kicks ass. That opening guitar riff that they go on for the first 10 seconds of the song. Da-da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da. I love that. That's really, really cool. I think the bigger deal for me was seeing Shibata because that was something that was unexpected. The whole stuff with Claudio, people were talking about right as they're getting into the arena. So I think for me, the bigger deal was Shibata showing up. And that was my personal favorite moment of the night, was seeing Shibata there. All right, match number 4. The baseball commissioner wants to expand to 32 teams. What cities, if any, should get a team? Well, I'll tell you this. As long as the city is not based in Ohio, I think we're all good. I think we all could be in agreement with that. Ohio is the biggest dump on God's green earth, and I don't even know why they have 2 teams there already as it is. Jeez, let's see. Which city deserves a baseball team? Do you have a baseball team in Iowa? Do you have the Des Moines Cornhuskers? That's a great question. I'm not really sure. I really don't think they need to expand, to be honest with you. I don't know how you guys feel about this topic, but I don't think they need to expand. It's kind of different with the NBA where you got rid of the cool original brands like the Seattle Supersonics. That's something that needs to happen. I could see somewhere either Oklahoma or Tennessee doesn't have a baseball team, right? Like Nashville, they don't have a team, right? I could say either Nashville or Oklahoma will be the 2 cities I think that should get a team if that's the case. All right, let's get to the next question. Who do you think is someone in WWE that will likely be released because Create just does not have a plan for them or the character becomes an afterthought? Oh, man, that's rough. I don't know. I guess there's times you can say that the writing's on the wall for them, but the only one that really comes off the top of my head right now is Xia Li. That's probably the only one I could see that would be likely released soon. So probably her. That'd probably be my guess for that question. With Valerie Loretta getting signed to NXT, will she become the best waterfall, or if not, who is? I have heard of Valerie Loretta. She is an MMA fighter. I want to congratulate her. First of all, for getting signed to WWE and NXT. I think that's awesome. I have seen her. The waterball does reach the approval test and the approval ratings in the waterball metric sphere. I would not say that she's the best waterfall. There's a lot of good waterfall in NXT and in WWE in general. I mean, you got Kayla Braxton, my lord, Nikita Lyons, Mandy Rhodes, Gigi Dolan, Katana Chase, Cora Jade. I'm just mentioning people at NXT right now. Hell, I even put Fallon Henley in that waterfall list. She's hot too. Let's see. Becky, Charlotte, Bianca. For me, right now, Bianca Belair has the best waterfall in WWE. For me, not only she is the best overall in-ring performer and character and stuff, so I like that to be the attention on my end. But as far as if we're talking about waterfall, Bianca Belair has the best waterfall in WWE right now, and it's not close. I can also say a close second is Blair Davenport from NXT UK. That girl is freaking hot as shit. And the backstage interviewer for SmackDown, Megan Morant, Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Good question, though. I haven't seen too much of Valerie Arena to put her on top of that list yet. But that's a good question. All right. Have you ever subscribed to OnlyFans for a wrestler celebrity? If not, who has at least one you might subscribe to at some point? OnlyFans. I never subscribed to a wrestler's OnlyFans before. Let's see. If I were to do that, if that's something I wanted to do, it would probably be either Penelope Ford or if it was like Anna Jay or Penelope Ford, I would. But other celebrities like Selena Gomez, I don't care if she's 50, but like Jennifer Aniston, I would. Colby Smulders, the hottest TV actor I've ever seen in my life. I am a big Robin fan for How You Met Your Mother fans out there, so I'll just throw that out there. Colby Smulders is freaking hot. Yeah, those are the only ones off the top of my head that I would pick the celebrity realm. But I've only subscribed to one OnlyFans account in my life, and that was the experience, and I probably will do it again. But let's thank you, Mike, for the questions this week. I appreciate you, brother. All right, our last batch of questions this week comes from the good brother Nate the Great on Twitter at Psycho Nagiri. He says this: what do you think Jordan Devlin will add to NXT? Well, I think he could add a lot of different variety of wrestling that you're probably not getting on NXT 2.0 from a size difference. Like, yeah, you got your guys like Wesley or Nathan Frazier down there, but Jordan Devlin is a hybrid wrestler, and I can see him fighting heavyweights. I can see him fight cruiserweights. I think Jordan Devlin is his work stands out, and the best thing about his stuff in the ring does his talking, and I'm curious to see what they do with him. I've liked the vignettes so far. I know they changed his name, but I think talent supersedes a lot of the ancillary things that a lot of us wrestling fans and wrestling content creators go out here and bitch about every week. So I think Jordan Devlin will be just fine in NXT, and I think he could bring a lot to the brand. And he's just a really good performer. So I hope things work out for him whenever he does debut at NXT. And I'm curious to see what he does. Who do you think will eventually beat Dragunov for the title? Good question. Well, I thought it was going to be Rampage Brown before he got his unfortunate injury. If I could look at the roster right now for NXT UK, I say our next closest option would have to be Joe Coffey. But Joe Coffey's been on hiatus recently, so I don't know what's going on with him. Hopefully he comes back soon. If Noam Dar ever loses the Heritage Cup Championship, maybe he can finally go after the main title. Walter's not there to stop him. You don't have the other bigger guys that are down there in NXT UK to get in his way. So, if I had to pick two people to take the title off of Dragunov, it would be either Joe Coffey or Noam Dar as guys that I can see making that happen. But that's a great question because I'm really curious to see what they do next with Dragunov. We haven't heard anything from him since his last title defense, which I think it was against the A-Kid. It was either A-Kid or Nathan Frazier he had his last title defense with. So hopefully he hears something soon for Off the Sheep Bar. I love this song. That's the one person that did not need a change for his theme song is Ilya Dragunov, but it's all good. Good question there, Nate. Are you in a good place this week, brother? Not only am I in a good place, Nate, I'm in a great place. I'm in great spirits. I'm happy. Life is good, man. No complaints. Decided to start off this next month. It's going to be a very busy month for me article-wise, but I'm also appreciative of that for it being busy. So it's all good on that end as well. Is there anything else that helps you with loneliness? Well, I think to some people it can be a bad sign when you get comfortable being lonely. But again, like I tell people, you gotta live your life. You gotta be the authentic product that is yourself. So if you get to the point where you can't trust people and you don't seek validation for your life or where you are, just all around by the number of people you interact with or hang out with, you know, at some point you just gotta think to yourself, okay, I'm feeling lonely. I have this self-doubt. Do people care about me? Do they even know I exist? Would it matter if I was still here? You have those questions in your head, right? But here's the thing. Let's say you are hanging out with people every weekend. Let's say you are going to clubs. You're going to skee ball events. You're going to this place and you're hanging out with all these people. And then people are turning your back. They turn their back on you. They talk shit about you behind your back. You get into drama, dragging into the middle of bad conversations and relationships. Is it really worth it? I mean, again, I am never going to be a person that feels like I need to fit in with a lot of people to feel satiated inside. You know, I don't need to hang out with people every single day or every weekend to feel validation. Now, here's my reality. A lot of my main friends, like Brother Carter and Referee Tony and et cetera, a lot of those people at a daily, they all live out of state. That's out of my control. But these are still people I keep in contact with and I care about immensely outside of wrestling and stuff like this. And, you know, for me, do I get lonely sometimes? Yeah. But what I've realized, especially with being in this apartment now, is the fact that I'm appreciating this downtime where I am by myself, where I have the opportunity to reevaluate a lot of things that was inside my head and things that have been bothering me for a long time, and you know, go through that healing process on my own. There's been a lot of healing and a lot of things that I've done internally here since I moved out here that I wasn't able to do when I was living at the other place, my original home. So, like, you have no idea how much, like, mental growth I've been able to have and spiritual growth I've been able to have since I moved out here. I'm in such a better place right now within my heart and spirit right now than I was about 2 or 3 years ago. I really am. And that's one of the things I'm very grateful for here. You know, I have mentioned it before. I have made it known that I want to move and I'm ready to move and get out of Chicago. But I'm very appreciative of what I have here at the apartment because of those reasons, because I've been trying to find myself. And it may come out different to other people because people live their life like robots. They feel that they got to do this in a certain manner and this way and that way. Like, I'm not going to live my life on anybody else's terms but my own. And I'm trying to figure out who I am, what I want to be. And I figured it out on my own accord here. I have my responsibilities. I have to pay for my rent for my Uncle Noel, and I got to pay the cable bill so I have my internet to do the articles for you guys. That's my responsibilities. Outside of that, the only two things I'm owed to, besides having love and care for my family and friends, obviously, that's not even something I should bring up. That's something that should be a given to all of you, you know? Like, there's things in life that really doesn't need explanations behind it, you know? You love your family, you have human decency, and you go about your life the right way. But I'm only tied down, and I only owe things to my uncle, who I have to pay rent every month, and then paying the cable bill. Outside of that, it's my world, and I get to choose what I want to do with it and how I go about it. And I'm happy as shit, man. I'm grateful for what I have here. I'm grateful for what the future looks like. I have a lot of things that I want to do. And the future's bright, man. I don't look at where I am. I don't look at where I am right now in my life and say that I'm just too lonely for myself. Like, yeah, I'm not married. I don't have kids. I'm not even in a relationship right now. The last day I went out was 5 weeks ago. Like, right now, I don't feel lonely, but if there's times where I do feel depressed and lonely, like I mentioned last week, I always go to music. I have my things that I go to clear my head from things, but at the same time, when you are feeling lonely, don't take that as a insult or a indication that you're doing something wrong in your life. You don't need to seek validation for people to feel better about yourself. That's not the case. If you feel lonely, more times than not, you probably get more out of yourself within than you would hanging out with somebody that doesn't really give a shit about you at the end of the day. Think about that. Just think about that, guys. So, awesome questions this week, guys, as always. I want to thank Nate, Chris, Mike, and Wade for the awesome questions this week. You guys killed it, as always. If you want to participate in the Good Brothers Q&A session, all you have to do is hit us up on the Twitter machine at Josh Lopez Media or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about what happened this week in the world of WWE right here in the Hoots Podcast. All right, folks, welcome back to the podcast. It is Truly's is yours. The one and only nefarious brother Adam Joshie Lopez. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you like at Josh Lopez Media. It's time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. Happy birthday to the one and roller coaster Cody Rhodes, you'll be hearing from in this segment in just a couple of segments. But first and foremost, we got to talk about what happened on SmackDown this past Friday night in Austin, Texas. There's a little interesting exchange that went on before the show with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, where Ronda Rousey is basically like, you know, what's your deal? Why are you like linking up more with Natalya more than me? This little jealousy angle there. I thought that was kind of interesting. So this little nice little video they put on social media, which I thought was good. Show started off with a promo with Drew McIntyre. Sheamus hit Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, you know, using his strings made it difficult for Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Basically, they got removed from the Money in the Bank ladder match due to politics, and they had to fight the Usos for their way to get back into the match due to Adam Pearce saying that. Here, speaking of politics and the bloodline, here's Sami Zayn talking to the one and only beautiful Kayla Braxton.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome honorary member of the bloodline, Sami Zayn. Sami, Shinsuke Nakamura is waiting for you out there in the ring.
You know, Kayla, can we just talk about what a great night this is going to be for the bloodline? I mean, we just found out that the Usos now have an opportunity to get rid of Drew McIntyre and Sheamus and remove them from the Money in the Bank ladder match, which they will. And do you want to know why? Because they... No. We always do what's right for Roman Reigns. And I can say we because I am an honorary member of the bloodline. I'm the honorary Us. Which is why tonight I am dedicating my match to the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. In fact, no, I am going to do one better. I am going to go out there and I am going to beat Shinsuke Nakamura. And I'm going to go to Las Vegas and climb the ladder and reach that briefcase, get that contract, and become the new Mr. Money in the Bank.
And cash in on either Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns?
No. Don't put words in my mouth, Kayla. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm not going to cash in on Roman Reigns. I am doing this to protect Roman Reigns.
That was the only part of it for Sami Zayn. He did end up beating Nakamura. It was a very, very good match. I thought it was pretty good. And then later on in the night, following the Gunther match with Ricochet, Gunther, by the way, retained over Ricochet. Good choice there. No reason to get the title off of Gunther, the Ring General. Here's the second part of the Sami Zayn saga with Caleb Braxton. Now Paul Heyman's involved in the conversation, so this is where things get interesting.
Paul, tonight you used your influence to perhaps alter the entrance, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, in a Money in the Bank ladder match. Ironically, you could be doing Brock Lesnar the greatest favor in the world.
Paul. No. You don't have to answer any questions this supposed journalist has to ask. Yeah, you know what you did. Earlier, she tried to twist my words around, didn't you? She tried to imply that if I won the Money in the Bank match, when I win the Money in the Bank match, she tried to infer that I would cash it in on Roman Reigns. Wiseman, the honorary Uce, would never cash in on Roman Reigns. I'd cash in on Brock Lesnar.
Cat bite your son there, Mr. Seth Rogen. Tread lightly, pal. I thought it was very important to play that because obviously something's up with Sami Zayn. Why would he care so much about what's going on with the bloodline? Like he has to have his own self-interest into this angle here. So I thought it was very important to play that. This hasn't been the first time that him and Paul Heyman had a face-to-face awkward conversation like that. So we all know the deal with Sami Zayn. He is a imposter. He's a stooge and a clown. But he is an entertaining stooge and a clown. I'll say that for sure. All right. Following that, other stuff from SmackDown that stood out to me. We had the return of Sonya Deville in in-ring competition. Let's hear what she had to say to Adam Pearce.
Sonya Deville, how are you?
Adam Pearce. Probably a lot better than you. I watched you go out there and take Sheamus and Drew out of the Money in the Bank ladder match after literally just having put them in last week. It kind of gave me like secondhand embarrassment, you know?
Not that I have to explain it to you, but those decisions come from above my head. You know how this works.
It's so classic Adam Pearce making excuse after excuse. You know, what is your excuse for the way you're treating the women's division right now? Oh, you don't know, do you? No. You don't know what everyone's saying. It's not my place, I shouldn't say. Although, if I were you, I would want to know that people were saying I was in over my head and out of touch with reality. You know, maybe so I could do something about it, actually.
Is there a reason you're in here?
Yeah, actually, there's several reasons. Let me start with first and foremost. I've been back on SmackDown for weeks, and I haven't had not one match yet. Yet, Raquel Rodriguez comes waltzing in off of some ranch in Texas, probably, and immediately gets a Money in the Bank qualifying match. And then Crocodile Tears Lacey Evans disappears for a year, comes back, and gets a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Yet, me? Just nothing, Adam? I'm asking as a competitor for a little respect around here. And for you, not to take it out on me that your in-ring career was a failure.
Didn't I tell you? You're in the ring tonight with Lacey Evans. And Raquel. You want a competition. You're going to get it because you have a handicap match. And Sonya, that match is next. Excuse me.
You always gotta love the dreaded that match is next. It's like, how low can it get for a heel who doesn't want to be in a match they don't want to be in and be like, oh, your match is next, pal. I thought SmackDown was okay for the most part. I wouldn't say this is like a crazy, amazing show or anything like that, but I thought SmackDown was a joke for the most part. One of my favorite parts of the show this past week was Ronda Rousey and Natalia's face-to-face conversation. They've been very, very petty towards each other on social media. It's been kind of fun to read on that. It's been one of the few good things we've seen on Twitter in the last couple weeks. But here's the face-to-face conversation with Ronda Rousey and Natalya.
Natty, that's you. I almost didn't recognize you without your rack out. You obviously can dress up like me, but me and you couldn't be any more different. But you're right. I'm not going to pass up having kids and not miss a day of wrestling in 10 years. I'm also not going to mutilate my body chasing impossible industry beauty standards like you do. But that doesn't mean I'm going to just bend over and hand you my title because you think you earned it. That's your problem, Natty. You think you're owed this title. You've been here more time and taken more hits than anyone, and by God, you're a heart. We all owe it to you. But the truth is, you are so lacking in natural talent and absent of charisma that despite your unrivaled pedigree and work ethic, the closest you ever get to being a main attraction in this company is dressing up like me.
Good stuff there, pal. That's some good TV right there. I'll tell you what, that's some good shit there. Really enjoyed that. Like I said, I thought SmackDown for the most part was pretty cool. We saw Shotzi Blackheart get her opportunity. She got added to the Money in the Bank ladder match. I think she's going to do some good stuff in there. We heard from Pat McAfee following his little brief interaction with bum-ass Corbin last week's SmackDown. Let's hear what Pat had to say on SmackDown this past week.
When I get to put on the headset and talk into the microphone for the millions. Shout out to my man, The Rock, members of the WWE Universe. I feel alive. So bum ass while you're catfishing on the internet, acting like you're not an insufferable, arrogant douchebag. Why don't you ponder this for a moment? SummerSlam, you and me, Nashville, Tennessee. And when I kick your teeth down your throat, the only thing I will think is, I feel more alive than I've ever felt in my entire life right here at SummerSlam.
What a national treasure. There's only one Pat McAfee. I'll tell you this, though. When it came to this past week's edition of SmackDown, I didn't think it was the greatest match offerings, to be honest with you. Wasn't too many matches that could like, oh, okay, this was a barn burner or whatever. But for me, the best match of the show obviously was the main event. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus against the Usos. That was a barn burner. We had the Street Profits at ringside. The finish towards the end of that match was just awesome. Like the last couple sequences was just absolutely insane. McIntyre planted Jimmy with the Claymore to wrap up the show. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus are in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And don't forget, folks, we got our predictions. For Money in the Bank coming up in just a couple seconds. But that's my thoughts on SmackDown. Overall, solid show. No complaints on my end. Now we go to Monday Night Raw from Laredo, Texas, where we are honoring the 20-year anniversary of John Cena. I mentioned this a bunch of times, and I've been very fortunate to say that I got to see John Cena's WWE debut in person. I was 8 years old and went to that SmackDown where he slapped Kurt Angle in the face. And there was a lot of commemorative messages this week. We had Stone Cold Steve Austin, Randy Orton, Kurt Angle himself, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Booker T. We even saw guys from AEW pop up on our screen on Monday. Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan, and The Big Show also gave shout-outs to John Cena to honor his 20th anniversary, which was really, really cool. And then everything that went into the John Cena 20th anniversary thing, I just thought it was really, really cool. Honestly, anytime John Cena comes up to the show, it's good vibes. You can feel it throughout the show. But the fact that you had him interacting in the background with guys like the Street Profits and Ezekiel, and then later on with Seth Rollins and that stuff being with Omos, it was a really nice usage of John Cena. And hey, we had the first interaction of John Cena and Austin Theory. Thought that was pretty interesting as well. The show kicked off with a last chance, battle royal to get a shot at the Money in the Bank ladder match. Matt Riddle got that, so that was pretty cool. I thought the Montez Ford Jey Uso match was really, really good. Montez Ford's won that with the Frog Splash. Let's see. The Miz and AJ Styles. This gets my nod for the most underrated TV match of the week. I know the match ended via countout, so it wouldn't come to your guys' top list or whatever, but really, really good performance from the Miz and AJ Styles in that singles match. I thought that was really good. We got blessed with a waterfall matchup of Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan. Very nice to see. Let's play a little bit of audio here from Bianca Belair's conversation with Carmella, and I'll give more thoughts on that after this.
Confident words from Carmella. Do you respect Carmella as a
never mind, I got the wrong clip there. I was supposed to play the back and forth they had, but basically, Bianca's carrying her own accord, and she's just a phenomenal talker, and she does a lot of good stuff in the ring, and I keep saying it to the cows come home, but she really is the EST of WWE. She's clicking on all cylinders right now. And I was talking to my guy Rob yesterday on the bonus episode. I don't think that Carmella gets enough flowers for how good of a performer she is. And, people only feel like you only got to do Canadian destroyers and arm drags and 450 sky twister presses to the outside to be considered a good wrestler. But what makes people like Carmella or Alexa Bliss or Baron Corbin or The Miz or any of these other performers that people don't give enough credit to is the fact that when they are in the ring, their work placases the character that they are working with at the moment. And that's a missing art throughout the entire wrestling landscape. Because I can see the same exact style match of Chris Sabin and Frankie Kazarian as I would Trey Miguel against Ace Austin. It's the same moves, it's the same sequences, it's the same vibe. I appreciate hybrid wrestling and counter wrestling and a lot of the stuff that we see from the AEWs and New Japans and Impact. I appreciate all types of wrestling. But what about it is really making it stand out from the other matches on the show? If every match is the same when we're kicking out of everybody's finishers and doing super kicks and Canadian destroyers and discus lariats and enziguris and counter wrestling, what makes it stand out, And that's what I appreciate about stuff from WWE that they don't get enough credit for, because their performance placates to the characters that they are in the ring. They're not doing things just for the sake of getting cheap pops that people are not going to remember the moves by the time the show's over. We had the John Cena segment. It was a very fantastic speech from John Cena. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's pretty long, but I had a transcript on my site if you want to see that. I wrote out the entire thing, but there's just a couple lines here. He said, "Because of you, I'm a better husband. Because of you, I'm a better person. Being in the WWE and spending moments with the fans I spent today have taught me empathy, have taught me caring, have taught me kindness. You guys have surely taught me humility, and you taught me perseverance. You have drilled into my head that every single time you step into this ring, you get nothing less than all you have, because every single time you come into the arena, you show up with everything you've got." John Cena's a legend, man, and I have my times where I was not into John Cena, and I had the whole Cena sucks shirt stuff, but John Cena's a legend, man, and it was great to see him on the show. It was really cool to have him have that 20th anniversary thing. I thought that everything that went into it went really, really well. The Lashley match with Alpha Academy, the handicap match, I thought that was pretty good as well. Let's play, before we get to the main event, let's get into an interview that Cody Rhodes did on Monday Night Raw this past Monday night. Let's hear a little bit of that right now, actually.
Cody, thank you for allowing us to be here.
Sure, thank you. Rehab is rehab. It certainly is a game of highs and lows, and it pales in comparison to where I was 3 weeks ago. Entering the prime of my career, at the peak of my career, and winning at Hell in a Cell. I would have loved to parlay that momentum into Money in the Bank. I was flying high. As they say, maybe flying a little too close to the sun. I'm sure Seth Rollins would say the same thing. Due to a sledgehammer, ironically, they are telling me 9 months. 9 months, and I am trying to respect that. It'll be bittersweet watching Money in the Bank. It's an awesome concept, and this year it has one of the most talented groupings in the history of the match. You have Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, two men who possess Harley Race level toughness. Omos, inexperienced, sure, but also he's 7'3". He doesn't even need a ladder. Sami Zayn, whose behavior and subterfuge fool people into forgetting that he has a genius level IQ in the ring. And then you have Seth frickin' Rollins, the man responsible for the most successful cash-in in the history of the company. Wouldn't that be something, right? If history was to repeat itself. If Seth Rollins was to grab the briefcase, more specifically the contract inside of it, one that has eluded me my entire career. If he was to cash in and to become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, wouldn't that be something? I'm not rooting for anybody. But if Seth takes the win, well, I think I'd be the first to congratulate him. If you guys will excuse me.
It's up there. Pretty good interview there for Cody Rhodes. Don't know when he's going to come back, but it'd be very interesting what happens when he does come back, so we'll see. Oh, we just got some breaking news. Logan Paul just signed with WWE. Wow. That's pretty cool. Good for Logan. He did a really, really good job at WrestleMania. And, where I don't watch his YouTube videos. I'm not really inclined into what he does. But what he did at WrestleMania was very impressive. So, good on Logan. I think that's pretty cool. All right. Let's get into the next part here for our This Week in WWE. We're going to get into... Oh, don't forget, coming up on Tuesday, a day after the 4th of July. Hope you guys enjoyed that little 4th of July feast there from Jim Cornette. Their intro clip this week. I'm still popping from that. But anyways, coming up on Tuesday, it's the Great American Bash. And we got a couple matches on there that piqued my interest. We got this running tension beef with the Creed brothers and the Dynamite. So they're putting their tag team titles on the line against Roderick Strong and Damon Kemp. We have... in the main event, it's Braun Breaker against Cameron Grimes for the NXT Championship. That should be very good. Also, don't forget Carmelo Hayes against Grayson Waller for the NXT Championship as well. NXT North American Championship, excuse me. Also, we got Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez going after Toxic Attraction. They got their shot for the NXT UK, the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. And, of course, speaking of previews and NXT UK related stuff, we got NXT UK, a brand new episode today, which I'll be covering that very soon. We got Wolfgang taking on Shaw Samuels with Noam Dar. We got Amelia McKenzie taking on Fallon Henley. Should be an interesting match there. We got the returning and beautiful Blair Davenport taking on Angel Hayes. And we get to hear from Trent Seven for the first time since attacking Tyler Bate a few weeks ago on NXT UK. So another good episode on the way there for NXT UK. Now, let's make some predictions. No! For Money in the Bank coming up on Saturday. We'll start off here. Austin Theory putting the U.S. title on the line against Bobby Lashley. I have Lashley actually... I actually have Lashley retaining here over Theory. I won't be surprised if Theory wins. Don't get me wrong. There could be something where he holds on to the ropes last minute, something like that. I can see that totally happening. Don't get me wrong. But I can see my pick right now. I'm leaning towards more Lashley getting the title over Austin Theory. But we'll have to see how that plays out. I have the Usos retaining over the Street Profits. I got Ronda Rousey retaining over Natalya. It should be an interesting match. Very stiff. I got Bianca retaining over Carmella. I think that match is going to surprise some people. By the way, 3 women's matches on the main card for Money in the Bank. I'm surprised nobody's talking about that more, but you'll hear it first on the Hoots podcast. Men's Money in the Bank ladder match: Seth Rollins, Matt Riddle, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Sami Zayn, Omos, and the person to be announced, which I think will be Kevin Owens. I'm going with Sami Zayn to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Believe it or not. I know a lot of people say the obvious choices are Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle, but just expect the opposite to happen. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Sami Zayn is going to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. If anybody in that men's match needs that briefcase for the character purposes, it's him. I think it's Sami Zayn that's going to win that Money in the Bank ladder match. And then for the ladies, for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, Becky Lynch, Asuka, Lacey Evans, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Shotzi Blackheart, I have Liv Morgan winning the Money in the Bank briefcase for the women. So going back to my picks, I got Lashley becoming your new United States champion. I got the Usos retaining their tag titles over the Street Profits. I got Ronda Rousey retaining. I got Sami Zayn winning the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I got Bianca Belair retaining her Raw Women's Championship. And finally, I got Liv Morgan in her biggest moment of her career winning the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. But a lot of different options to go with that route as well on the women's side for the Money in the Bank. So I'm curious to see how this pay-per-view goes out. I know a lot of people are not too crazy about the card, but can you tell me the last premium live event that WWE's had that was bad? Still waiting to find it. You tell me when. But I am excited for Money in the Bank. It should be a fun show. I'm really looking forward to it. So that's 48 hours from right now. So that should be a good time, depending on when you're listening to this podcast. So that, my friends, right there is what happened this week in the world of WWE. All right, folks, now it's time to give the people what they want, what they've been waiting for, what they need. A new, brand new, spanking restaurant quality edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. We're going to start this bad boy off with Brother Carter in a 3, 2, 1.
Beat your meat, 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 beat your meat.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
What the hell is wrong with AEW? Well, I will admit, I did not watch the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, but I did get to see some of the clips. And I only have a couple of things to say about this show, and I'll let Josh talk about Forbidden Door in his portion of the segment, but this is all I'm going to say. Number 1, Claudio Castagnoli is not going to be the savior of AEW. If CM Punk and Daniel Bryan weren't even the saviors, what makes people think that the former Cesaro is going to do anything except be third fiddle in the Blackpool Combat Club and be forced to do stupid things like blood and guts instead of actually get to show what he can do in the ring? Number 2, this company really couldn't help themselves, could they? They had to end their show with a WCW-style post-match brawl that basically made the whole show feel like a typical episode of Dynamite. That's their go-to, is to just have a big brawl, but they couldn't leave well enough alone after Moxley and Tanahashi did whatever it is that they did. They had to go to the post-match brawl, didn't they? And basically bring down the whole show. From what a lot of people say, there was some good wrestling, and I'm happy about that. That's cool. Again, I didn't watch the show, so I can't comment on that. I'll let Josh talk about that. But Castagnoli is not the savior, and they couldn't help themselves with the post-match brawl. Okay, let's get into Dynamite this week. From the very title of the show, you knew that this was going to be a complete waste of time. And boy, were we right. So let's get to the crap. Actually, no, there was only one thing I liked about Blood and Guts this week. Only one. One thing out of the whole 2-hour program. And that's the Christian Cage promo. That was fantastic. He's going to be the new savior of the show, now that Punk is out. Brian Danielson is out. Cole, O'Reilly. Basically, all the list of injuries. Add Santana to that tonight. MJF is gone. Christian Cage may have a chance to be the only redeeming part of this program. And good for him. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm actually intrigued by the Luchasaurus thing. That actually didn't bother me. And I'm really looking forward to that. I actually think there is some potential there. Now, he's just another gigantic big heel that's going to get lost in the shuffle. But he was going to do that anyway. So why not give this a chance until we get the Christian Cage Jungle Boy match? But that's it. That's the only thing redeeming about this show this week. Everything else was awful. This might have been one of the worst episodes of Dynamite that they've ever produced. So let's get into it. So right from the very beginning, they talk about 5-star matches, and obviously Schiavone has bought into the 5-star rating system. Why wouldn't he? Meltzer's on the payroll, so Tony Khan probably said, "Oh, you got to talk about 5-star matches, pal," because that's what apparently people think is great professional wrestling. And okay, now we get into the opening match. You've got Orange Cassidy, the mascot, versus Ethan Page. So the referee from the very beginning has absolutely no control of anything in this match and does whatever anyone tells him to do. Right from the beginning, Dan Lambert, who by the way is a national treasure, and God bless Dan Lambert. Dan Lambert tells best friends to go away and they immediately do it. But Lambert gets to stay. How does that make sense? I just don't understand why Tony Khan why anything in this company makes sense at all. And then for the love of God, why does anybody like Orange Cassidy? He is an absolute freaking joke. And again, he's not a bad athlete. I hear he had a good match with Will Ospreay. My guess is that Will Ospreay carried it. I heard it was a good match because, again, I always think Orange Cassidy, if he could get rid of this stupid gimmick, could actually be good because he's a good athlete, does not too bad in the ring. But how does anybody get behind this guy? What is his gimmick? To act like a complete fool? He doesn't talk? But for some reason, he's one of the most cheered people in AEW. I just don't get it. Max Caster needs to get away from the ass boys as soon as they can. Max Caster can be somewhat entertaining. I didn't think his rap this week was particularly good. But that's about it. And then, okay. So you've got Max Caster and the Ass Boys, the Gun Club of the Ass Boys against Danhausen and 2 mystery partners. They put the best tag team in the world in FTR with a comedy act, with a circus clown, with a wannabe magician. This is what they're doing with the best tag team in the world. Man, it's the Usos. Well, you can make an argument for the Usos, but FTR is on freaking fire right now. And Tony Khan, Booker of the Year, pal, puts him with the magician circus clown who puts curses on people. You saw this. I don't. I have no words for this. The only redeeming quality about this match is that Anthony Bowens appears to be okay, so that's good. And now Billy Gunn is apparently choosing a couple of douchebags over his kids. Sweet. It's exactly what you want there. Next up, we have Layla Gray, who has 0 wins in AEW. Her record is 0-4. Gets a shot at the TBS Championship against the undefeated Jade Cargill. Man, that's great. Great booking and storytelling right there. Makes total sense. But then Athena comes in, and because she's Tony Clown's favor of the month, she gets to jump in front of the line and get the challenge for the TBS Championship. And what exactly does Stokey Hathaway do anyway? He just stands there, looks like a little bitch, and then runs away. I don't get it. Jade Cargill needs to go to NXT as soon as she can because she needs to get away from this clown show. Okay, and now we get into Blood and Guts. And it starts off by the Jericho Appreciation Society wearing these ridiculous outfits. And all I could think of this entire time is, this is stupid. You're telling me the guy, formerly known as Cesaro, left his WWE contract for this. He left it for broken glass, people getting pile drived on it, Moxley shoving a fork and skewers into people's foreheads, thumbtacks, ripping up the ring. This is what Cesaro left WWE for. If that's the case, he's dumber than I thought. This was absolutely ridiculous. Santana gets hurt. Now, he didn't get hurt in, I will give credit on that. That sucks for Santana because he was just doing a move and something went wrong and he got hurt and now he's going to be out for a while. So that sucks. That wasn't because of the blood and gut stuff. But what about this is redeeming? What about this advances professional wrestling? What about this says, oh, the art of wrestling is great? No, it's deathmatch crap that for some reason Tony Khan is buying as legitimate sports entertainment. But instead, people are bleeding for no reason. They're reducing their careers. And there's a special place for this. It's called CZW. But these clowns have somehow convinced this internet mark, which MJF is completely right about, convinced this internet mark that this is pro wrestling and this is what people want to see. And if it is, then we're going to hell in a handbasket because that is a very, very, very small percentage of the wrestling fan base. And a lot of people are going to get turned off by this, I think anyway. And it's going to continue to go on hell. But Tony Khan is going to continue to promise these big paychecks and continue to pay people. And once again, the business model isn't going to work. I will say, if this leads to a match between Claudio and Eddie Kingston, I'm fine with that. But I now have a feeling that this whole thing with the Jericho Appreciation Society and the Blackpool Combat Club won't be over because Kingston didn't get to make Jericho tap out. This Blood and Guts was deplorable. It was horrendous. It was embarrassing. Tony Khan and All Elite Wrestling have embarrassed the entire sport of professional wrestling, and they should all be ashamed of themselves. What the fuck? Sorry, I have to be calm. I'm recording this while I'm on vacation. But seriously, what the fuck is wrong with AEW?
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
What the hell is wrong with AEW? AKA, what isn't wrong with AEW? That's my little impression. Shout out to Brother Carter. Thank you, Brother Carter, for the submission this week. I appreciate you as always. Time for the fun and shenanigans and controversy. Eric Bischoff always said, controversy creates cash. I don't like to implore controversy here on the Hoots Podcast. I like to speak the truth and stuff that you don't get on wrestling Twitter or websites these days. So that's the charm of the segment in a nutshell. But before we get to the Mutt Show in the fucking dumpiest part of the Midwest, known as Detroit, Michigan, we'll get into what happened at the loose door at the United Center. Before I even talk about the matches, I have to say this. WWE, please bring the Royal Rumble to the United Center. Please, I'm begging you, bring the Rumble to the United Center. I gotta say this, and this is my second AEW show I've been to at the United Center. And it's not, AEW has a good graphics department, don't get me wrong, but just, maybe it's just my charm for the United Center, but just the way the graphics and everything around the arena, of how the arena looked for the Forbidden Door was fucking awesome. got in my seats looking at that big ass Titantron they got and all the stuff around the building. United Center is cool, man. Just gotta say that, man. It's really dope. I enjoyed my seats. I was really close by the announce team, but on the side of the stage, which was really cool. I had a good time at the pay-per-view. Don't get it wrong. Now that I've had a chance to go back and transcribe the show, article that has 8,000 words attached to it, and a damn show that took me 4.5 hours to type out on Monday. I had a really good time, and shout out to the lady. I didn't get a chance to catch her name, unfortunately, but the lady I was sitting next to, she came out of town. She's from Wisconsin. Had a lot of fun interactions with her while the show was going on. So good times on that end. So I thought that was pretty cool. As far as the show's concerned, in the buy-in, you know, it was cool to see my guys, Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi Bishamon, get their chance to be out there. They beat the Factory. I thought that was probably the best match of the buy-in show outside of the Swerve in Our Glory match with El Desperado and Kanemaru. I thought that was a very solid match as well. The stuff with Dan Clownson and the Gun Club and all that shit, I didn't care for. I was like, next. The show started off with Suzuki Minoru. That Kaze Nina air was loud as shit, man. I gotta tell you that first and foremost. The opening match exceeded my expectations for it, but also it went way too damn long. And I say this all the time. Trios matches that have no consequences to it should not go past 15 minutes, let alone 19 minutes. I thought this match went way, way too long. And, of course, the Jericho Appreciation Society won the match. It was what it was for me. I wasn't too crazy about the match. Also wasn't really crazy about the second match, too. We had FTR against United Empire against Roppongi Vice. Fortunately, Dax Harwood suffered an injury earlier on in the match, but he came back towards the end, which was nice to see. FTR, your brand new IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Obvious choice there. I was surprised that they won the titles, but with it being G1 season, I guess you don't really need to put an emphasis on FTR defending those prospective titles until the G1's over. So we'll have to see if Dax and Cash make their trek out to Japan for once. So we'll have to see how that plays out. With that being said, I like to mention that my main takeaway, especially from the transcript point of view, when it came to the Forbidden Door, that while it was a good night of wrestling matches and the atmosphere and the moment of it being AEW versus New Japan, I enjoyed the aspects of that. I just felt that too many of the matches overstood their welcome, and they really did. Congrats to Pac, who became the brand new AEW All-Atlantic Schneiders for the Burnham champion. We'll see how that goes. Probably at the same rate as the TNT title, but wishful thinking, right? We gotta have some wishful thinking here, because God knows what the rhyme or reasons for what they do with their title divisions anymore in AEW. Other stuff on the program that stood out to me, obviously the Claudio debut was pretty cool. Had the victory over Zack Sabre Jr. That was another long match, 18 minutes. Again, I feel like my main takeaway when it came to the show was less is more. And I'll start here with the crap. I walked out on the main event of Tanahashi and Moxley. And only Rick Moranis would get me to the point where I'm indifferent to Tanahashi and Moxley. So after the four-way was over for the IWGP title was done with, I walked out. I left the building. I wasn't mad at the finish. That was why I left. I left because I didn't want to see it because I knew what was going to happen. John Moxley cannot have a match to save his life without bleeding or having most of the match on the floor. He just can't do it. He can't do it. And I'm so tired of Jim Ross and all these people calling him Stone Cold Steve Austin and prop it up as this martyr. Jon Moxley, to me, is the Jay Cutler of wrestling without titles. That's the only difference between him and Jay. They both sound the same. They both look the same. They both carry themselves the same way. Both are highly overrated. And I know I'm going to get flack for it, but I'm just going to call it how I see it. Jon Moxley is the Jay Cutler of professional wrestling. And for me, like, cool, bro. Like, honestly, go watch a Jay Cutler podcast and listen to how he talks. You would think Jon Moxley's talking inside Jay Cutler's body. I'm telling you for real, it's a shoot. I didn't care. I wasn't going to be there for the Jon Moxley Love Fest. And then, of course, seeing Tony Khan in person again just gave me the ultimate reminder that Tony Khan is a civic embarrassment. Let me repeat that. Tony Khan is a civic embarrassment. He's a walking freaking twat. Like, the pre-show hoorah speeches and the post-media scrum. Of course, JD from New York was back there. Gotta give the verbal hand job to TK while he's back there, right? Same cast as characters as it was at Double or Nothing. Another embarrassing media scrum. I'm not going to get into the whole hug with Claudio. Do what you want to do. I have no comments on that. But, again, we had a night to honor two companies put on an awesome show together. But no, we got to go into business for ourselves. So I knew what was going to happen before I even got home. I got into my Uber ride right as the match got over. And more people were coming into the area where I got my Uber ride. And I knew what was going to happen. Mox was going to win. He was going to be all he had all blood over his face, donning the crimson mask. And after that, you would have another brawl with the Jericho Appreciation Society and Black Bull Comic Club. And I get it, you got to promote blood and guts. I understand that. But there's so many other ways you could have gone about that. But no, they can't help themselves. Like Brother Carter said, we need to have stupid WCW brawls all the fucking time. I swear to God, man, like sometimes I watch AEW, like it reminds me of watching Bears games. Like I want to enjoy myself. I want to root for the team. I want the Bears to be good. I want AEW to be good. But they get in their way more than any organization I've ever seen in wrestling. They can't help themselves. They gotta go for the tropes that just pops, dirt sheet marks and dirt sheet writers and Twitter. I never seen and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of their decisions in AEW business or in ring is dictated by what's said on Twitter. I wouldn't be surprised by that. People say, oh, that's great continuity and storyline development. What, having brawls after every match, that's storyline development? That's what separates AEW? Okay. Then we get to... Let's go back really quick, mention some of the other matches that happened on the show. Will Ospreay, thank God, retained over Pockets. I don't care if he has a new theme song. By the way, I saw that whole thing with him and Tony Khan and Sean Ross Sapp. I got a kick out of that. I thought that was pretty funny. It's funny. Tony Khan has no problem staging off something that's going on with WWE to the dirt sheets, right? But if it's something going on with his show, then he has a problem with it, right? I don't give a shit. Orange Cassidy comes out with no music or new music, but I thought all of that was a little funny and weird. But thank God Will Ospreay retained. Like I mentioned earlier, seeing Shibata was my favorite part of the show. I marked out for that. That was pretty cool to see Shibata. That was awesome. And then yeah, that's pretty much it for the stuff I enjoyed. Also, seeing Sting doing this stuff in person, that was really dope. How he jumped off the entrance tunnel, I thought that was great. I thought that was pretty cool. By the way, I'd be remiss without mentioning this. Another big miss for Forbidden Door. How in the blue ever fuck you don't have Chris Charlton call any of the matches? Not one, he can't be part of the buy-in. Don't get me wrong, I thought Taz did a fantastic job. He really did. But you can't have Chris Charlton on any of the matches? You flew him all the way out from Japan to come to the show, only just to do the translations for Okada in the media scrum. Really? I, and like a lot of other New Japan fans, were looking forward to hear Chris and Kevin call a match together. You could have Chris do the IWGP heavyweight title match or the US title match. We needed fucking Schiavone out there. I just thought that was stupid. And again, it wouldn't be an AEW show without shitty officiating. It wasn't just Forbidden Door, but Blood and Guts too, man. Aubrey Edwards was in rare form this week, man. If you wanted a demo reel of what Aubrey Edwards officiating looks like, just look at the match she officiated on the Forbidden Door and Blood and Guts. My lord, she is the drizzling shits. When I talk about getting VR goggles, going to see an eye doctor or Richard from Friends, she needs it more than anybody in this industry because she is brutal. Brutal Bob Evans, JoJo Dutch, whatever phrase I want to use here, you get the point. She sucks. And I know anytime you criticize women now, oh, you're an asshole, oh, you should be canceled. I call a spade and say she is the most incompetent wrestling referee I've ever seen in my entire life. She stinks. She's not good at her job. And please don't let me talk about her podcast, which becomes so passive aggressive and phony. Oh my lord. By the way, I know we had the 150th episode of Dark this week. But why was the first hour of Dynamite this week feeling like an extension of AEW Dark? So we have Ethan Page against Pockets, which probably would have been the main event of the Dark, right? But was not a fan of Pockets. I am a fan of Ethan Page, though, so it sucked to see him lose that way. What did that do for either guys? Just dumb. A dumb match pairing and a dumb result there as well. I feel bad for Ethan Page. He doesn't deserve that. Also on the program, we had the Gun Club and Max Caster taking on Dan Cloudson and FTR. If you grabbed your remote and changed your channel to the next theme that was on, I wouldn't have blamed you. I wouldn't have. Because that's just embarrassing. You're going to put your most popular act with another fucking circus freak. Lord, I can't wait for Jim Cornette's review of that match. My lord. Then we get into the Gravata. Before that, shout out to Jade Cargill and her waterfall. She is 34-0 now. Very good stuff there. I found it interesting they didn't bring Layla Gray as a potential baddie because, Tony Khan probably saw her in the backstage segment or her match with Raquel Rodriguez on SmackDown. Hey, Tony Khan, just admit it. Everything you do is based on what the WWE does. Just say what your business model is so we can keep it moving, But anyways, let's get to what everybody's talking about. Blood and Guts. The spot Kingston throwing Guevara off the cage, off the platform. Yeah, it was a nice spot. I'm glad you didn't fall down on pillows like Chris Jericho did at last year's Blood and Guts. I'm not into that CZW shit. I'm really not, Moxley out there stabbing skewers into Matt Menard's forehead and stuff. Come on, man. I thought everybody talks about Kevin Dunn's, camera work and stuff for the WWE and how they go in different directions. I thought the camera work on Blood and Guts was fucking terrible. It was hard for me to catch up with a lot of stuff that was going on in the ring as far as the transcript point of view. Not because it was the two rings, it's just the way it was shot. Like, you get this wide pan out shot of the cage where you're not seeing anything in the ring, and it's just I thought the camera work during the match was just god awful. I understood the finish. You want to have more beef with Eddie Kingston and Claudio for whatever history they have in the past. I don't know, nor do I care about their past issues with each other. I really don't. But I understood the finish, so the finish wasn't an issue with me. I did enjoy the match. It went way too long. I was really bummed out to see that Santana got injured. That also took me out of the match. That's unfortunate because that team can't catch a break. That sucks to see. So my thoughts go out to him, and hope he has a speedy recovery for whatever injury he did suffer. Was my fancies tickled when I saw the Blackpool Comic Club win and celebrate on top of the cage? Was I gleeful? Was I jubilee and just elated for the result of the fact that the Blackpool Comic Club beat the Jericho Appreciation Society? No! Because this shit's going to continue. Because every feud with Chris Jericho never ends. It keeps going and going and going and going and going. It's brutal, man. So, AEW Dynamite in the Mud Show in Detroit, Michigan certainly did not disappoint. And that, my friends, is what the hell is wrong with AEW this week. Alright, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for this another stellar edition of the Hoots Podcast, episode 316. Hope you guys have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Everybody will be enjoying their Mondays off, which is pretty cool. 4th of July on a Monday this year, pretty cool. I'll be busy because I got 3 shows to cover, but I hope everybody enjoys their holiday weekend. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you like at Josh Lopez Media. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast, where it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts from. Type in the Hoots Podcast. It comes to you free of charge every single Thursday. Make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. Make sure to follow Brother Carter on Twitter at Dericho06 and so much more. And for everybody, I'm Joshie. Make sure to enjoy Money in the Bank this Saturday. We'll review that show next week. Be the authentic product that is yourself, and remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but you and the man upstairs. I love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Let's toss it off to the Brother Carter for this week's edition of the Thoughts of Dericho. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
And now, the Thoughts of Dericho. Listen well, man.
Welcome, one and all, to the segment that ain't going to hell anytime soon. It is the Thoughts of Dericho, featuring the one, the only, Brother Carter. Well, Hell in a Cell is this weekend, and as always, I'll try to give my predictions. No, for the big event coming up. Really, the number 5 of it's really the kind of the big 5 of the pay-per-views now of Money Bank, with Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Money in the Bank. So, really looking forward to the show. Should be a good show this week. Though Hell in a Cell is what AEW could have called Blood and Guts, because it made me want to tell AEW to go to hell. But nevertheless, I digress. All right, before getting into my predictions, so this will be a shorter episode of the Thoughts of Dericho this week. Just wanted to say real quick about this week in WWE. I did think it was really cool that some AEW stars were able to give John Cena his props for his 20-year celebration. I thought that was kind of cool and a really nice gesture. So great to see Big Show, Daniel Bryan, and Chris Jericho, along with a horde of others, give John Cena his congratulations. And it's always great to see John Cena in the ring. Nothing gets me fired up like a Cena promo. And anybody who says he isn't over or isn't one of the best and greatest superstars of all time is clearly delusional, or is probably an AEW fan. I will never pass up the opportunity to take shots at AEW after that bullshit that they made us sit through this week. But, Okay, let's get to some predictions for Hell in a Cell this week. Should be a good show coming up. Really, if I'm looking at this, I can't see where any of the champions are going to lose their titles. So like I said, this is going to be a very short edition of the Thoughts of Dericho this week. But I can't see anywhere where the champions are going to lose their titles. You know, you got Theory versus Bobby Lashley. Obviously, Theory's going to get the win there. Usos versus the Street Profits. No reason to take the titles off the Usos just yet, especially if Roman Reigns is going to be gone. Though, if there was going to be a title change, I think that might be it. But I'm going to say the Usos retain over the Street Profits. No need to take the title off of Ronda Rousey yet versus Natalya. Same thing with Bianca Belair. No reason to take the title off of her against Carmella. But that could be a good match, too. I'm glad Carmella's getting a chance to show what she can do, because I think she's kind of been flying under the radar for a long time. And as we all know, Mella is money. So that's going to be really cool. But yeah, I think those are going to be 4 great matches. But I've got all the champions retaining in all of those matches. So that should be fun. Okay, let's do the women's Money in the Bank ladder match first. And this one is tricky because in the match you've got Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Lacey Evans, Asuka, and Shotzi. Now, this one's tough because you've got a lot of great competitors in there. I'm going to take Liv Morgan to win the Money in the Bank briefcase and eventually cash in on Bianca Belair. I think she's ready to make that next step. I think a lot of people want to see her in that role. So I've got Liv Morgan winning the Money in the Bank briefcase on the women's side of things. And for the men's Money in the Bank ladder of the match, you've got Matt Riddle, Seth freaking Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Omos, Sheamus, Sami Zayn, and a competitor to be named later. And I think that competitor is going to be John Cena. And he will end up competing at Money in the Bank. And they'll announce that either on SmackDown this week. I think it'll most likely be announced at Money in the Bank. But I think that the 7th competitor is going to be John Cena. And it's going to be kind of cool. That all being said, this one's hard to pick. I'm going to take Seth Rollins to get the win here. I think there's no reason to not take the title. Or he seems to be the most poised to win this thing right now. If it wasn't going to be Cody Rhodes, which I think was the original pick before he got hurt. But I'm going to take Seth Rollins to get the win here. And we'll talk about this more next week next month at the SummerSlam prediction show. But I also think that Seth Rollins, I'm calling it right now, is going to cash in and win the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship at SummerSlam. That's where I think he cashed in. It's an easy way to, it's a safe way to get the title off of either Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns. So I've got Seth Rollins winning the Money in the Bank ladder match and then cashing in at SummerSlam to become the new WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. Now, those are my picks and predictions for Money in the Bank, which I think is going to be a great show. And that should do it for the Thoughts of Dericho this week. My final thought is I miss everybody. I'm having a great time on vacation. I'll be back live on the Hoots podcast in about a month, and I'm looking forward to being back. But for now, enjoy July. Enjoy Money in the Bank. Happy Canada Day to those of you that celebrate that. And happy Independence Day to everybody, since that's will be the next time that we're all together. Thank you to all the men and women who make the ultimate sacrifice for our country and defend our freedom. We couldn't do things without you. So make sure that you take time to celebrate a veteran if you have not done that already. And one last time, what the hell is wrong with AEW?
This has been the Thoughts of Dericho. You're smarter now, man.